Okay.
皆様、こんにちは。ミッキー京子です。今日は素敵なゲストに来ていただいております。Hi, Caitlin!
Hi, good morning, Kyoko. How are you?
Hi, thank you. How about you?
Doing fabulous. Can't complain. It's a lovely
Good,
day.
good. Yes. Well, Caitlin was my English teacher in 2015. Do you remember we met in 2015? That means almost 9 years ago.
I know. I remember when you first walked into the studio, and I think I asked you your name, and you said Kyoko, and I repeated it back, and I think you said, "Oh, you pronounced it right." I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, most of them can't say Kyoko. They
Mhm.
say Kyoko or Kayoko or Kyoki.
Yeah.
Kyoki. So, yeah. Anyway, I was very impressed. Uh, and anyway, Caitlin, we haven't seen each other for many years, so
Mhm.
I'd like to know how you are doing now. Would you tell me?
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to just interrupt me if I keep rambling. I know I tend to just kind of get going. But my long story short is I basically went and got my master's degree in translation studies. Um,
Yes.
as you know, I'd been studying Japanese for a while, and I really just wanted to actually turn that into a career. So I went back, did 2 years of study. It was in the middle of COVID, to be fair, so it was a little crazy. But
Yes, yes, that's right.
yeah, so I
Mm,
I did a lot of online classes, and that was really interesting, but,
mm,
I did manage to get my degree, and then afterwards thank you, I worked, Sotsugyou thank God. But,
oh, wonderful.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Afterwards, I worked for a small company, just as a project manager for a while, which is more what I think a lot of people that study translation, the process end up doing. A lot of people
Mm,
have this idea that oh, I speak this other language. I would like to translate literature for it. That's the very common one. Um, it's not that they can't, it's just that it tends to be a lot more competitive.
mm,
And project management is where really, you can kind of find your bread and butter. You can find your niche. Like, um, after working with this company for about 2 years, I went off on my own. And so
yes.
now I translate, documents with my company, and it's just very small, but it's medical documents and things like that. And
Mm,
it's not as glamorous, I think, as some people think translation is, but it's very necessary, especially because of the hospital systems and how, I don't think a lot of people know if you don't speak English as a native language in the United States of America, by law, we're required to provide you documentation in your native language. And a
mm,
lot of hospitals get grant money for this, so that way they can
yes.
pay companies like myself to do this. So
Mm,
that's where I'm at basically. Is I've just got my little company. It's been
mm,
chugging along for 2 years, and now hopefully I can use 2025 to grow it a little bit more because I think I've
mm.
kind of learned it the ins and outs now. So.
Yes. Well, when you say translation, oh, well, about medical thing, it's from Japanese to English or English to Japanese?
So in my case with the project management, I just have the company, and then whatever requests I get in, I will find an adequate and accredited translator for it. So I tend to get a lot of documentation in Arabic and Chinese, for example, and Spanish, but I think that one's pretty common in the United States. Um,
Yes.
so that's the goal is okay, I have these English documents, and these are probably family members of expats or things like that that have come over.
Yeah.
And so they want it in their native language. And so we'll take
Mm,
that English document and put it into Arabic or
mm,
Chinese or Punjabi or German, whatever you need, really. It's my job to go find the person who is
yes.
both accredited to do it and can do it in the time frame. So
Wow. Well, Caitlin, isn't it difficult to find the credited person?
I mean, yes and no. I think for medical, like luckily that was really the training in our school was, how do you project management effectively? Who are the big players in the game? Where do you as a freelancer go to offer your services? And where do I, as the project manager, go to find that? And so we have a lot of hubs online where we can find people. And there's very big and established companies out there that you can always use. But,
Oh,
I'm very fortunate because I have friends kind of across the globe that have taken the time to get accredited through the ATA, which is the American Translation Association. And that certification that they provide kind of just lets clients know, hey, like this person has studied translation, they have
yes.
really competent language skills. So, it's impressive how many people are out there that just, have taken the
Mm,
time to really
mm,
flesh out their language skills and get this accreditation so they can work in
mm,
America, but it's
mm.
beneficial for them. So it's not as hard as you would think, but sometimes
Mm.
if there's a crunch project and you need something turned around very quickly, it can be
Yes.
a little nerve-wracking because you
Oh,
need
yes.
you need to get it
I
done.
guess so. Especially medical world.
Mm.
Well, you can't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the words.
Yeah, well,
So,
I always I always laugh about that because, the documents that we get, a lot of times it's more about the numbers and making sure that those are accurate because you wanna make sure the claim is correct, the members' IDs are correct, like, the amount of money that you're charging somebody for a Band-Aid, let's say, because they
mm,
might see that and go, I'm not paying $12 for a Band-Aid, and so they'll have to call and they'll have to say, well, this charge here, line
yes, yes.
charge 40130 is like it's I think it's kind of interesting because you get these documents and it's almost a game because the acronyms that they use to describe these medical procedures that we have to translate so the patient can understand what they're being charged for
Right.
are often you won't even know. So you'll spend half an hour researching like what is CXPL, like it's fun.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So you have to be very careful,
Yeah, it's
right?
well, the real joke is I spend probably more time in Adobe Acrobat at the end when I'm putting the documents back together because you have
Yeah,
to have them one to one so you can check and make sure that they're correct. So,
yeah.
but I spend more time on Adobe just moving little boxes around to make sure that the documents are accurate more than
Yes, yes. Well, Caitlin, you have to check like Arabic and Chinese, that kind of thing too. But uh, how can you do that? You mainly read English part to make sure it says correct.
well,
Correct.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
it says correct. Because I don't know. I didn't think you were excellent at the language. I mean, Chinese and Arabic or
Oh yeah, no, those well, in that case, so basically like what we try to achieve with the translation process is you take the source, you put it into your target language, you have it proofread and edited, put it back into the format visually, and then it's delivered. Most of the time nowadays, you will go to a third party vendor who will do the translation, the proofreading, and the editing. And then they'll send it back to me to do the cosmetics because that's just easier on them.
oh, I
So
see, I
there's
see.
there's a lot of like interconnectedness that I don't think people understand with the translation company because it's hard for people to understand when you could just go to Google Translate and you could click any button, and it's
Mm,
instant. You have that translation, but in reality, there's
mm,
a finite number of people that know these language pairs. So
mhm.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, I don't personally check them, but every single person, and again, this goes back to the accreditation. This is why we use the people we do, is because by having that certification,
Mm,
I know you will
mm.
do that process. I know when I get
Yes.
my file back from you, you have
Mm,
had a second and third person proofread and edit it. So, yeah,
that's
so
good.
when I get it, I cannot read it, but I'm looking at it at that point from only a desktop publishing perspective. So
Yes.
I have to trust my translator at that point. But so does everybody else kind of in the chain. So it's just
Mm.
how it works.
Wow, that's a very difficult, tough work. Yes.
It's fun. I
Oh
like it.
my goodness, yes. So, um, can you get some rest? I mean, do you have to work many, many hours every day?
Hold on one second. Excuse me. You can edit that out. But so I actually it's really random, my schedule. I am remote, and it definitely feels like you just don't turn off the work at any time.
Mm,
Because your holidays aren't going to match with the people in China or Mexico or
mm,
Egypt,
yeah,
and the hospitals don't turn off either. So
right.
so for me, it's more just I kind of just have a rolling way of working. And if I look up and it's 1 o'clock on a Tuesday and it's, oh, I need to go do XYZ, then I can go pop away and do that for 3 hours and come back. So long as there's not a meeting or an
Mm,
extremely close deadline, then
mm.
it's pretty flexible. But there are moments I'll be up here at like midnight doing stuff.
Oh,
But it's okay because I don't have to wear a business suit, and I love that. That's all I
oh,
wanted in my
yeah.
life. So,
Isn't it wonderful?
yes,
Yeah,
it
so
is.
you can work at home.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is the office basically, so
Mm. Oh,
it's
that's
nice.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. We 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 already talked almost 14 minutes or 15
I'm
minutes.
I'm
Oh, just
sorry.
one question.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned about football.
Mhm.
That's American football, and
Mhm.
then you're going to watch it this afternoon?
Yes. Yep, yep. Shout out to the University of Florida, where,
Yeah.
it's the big Florida-Georgia game today at Jacksonville, Florida at 3:30. It's the biggest cocktail party in the outdoor cocktail party in the world. It's just really silly. I went to it when I was a student, and
Oh,
it's
I
just a
see.
lot of fun. It's a lot
Yeah,
of
but how about this?
fun. Mhm.
Florida, they, hurricane, and then
Yeah.
they had a lot of damage, but they can still go on football today.
Mhm. Yeah, luckily, I think luckily Florida didn't get hit too bad by, I forgot the name, but luckily they're okay. I did check in with all of my friends down there, and they were fine. But
Oh, good.
so
I'm
so
glad to hear that.
oh yeah, it's football Saturday. Nothing's gonna stop that now. So,
Well, then, thank you so much for coming here
absolutely.
today, and then this afternoon, enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Kyoko. Thank you for
Well,
having me.
then, thank you. Well, then I'll see you some other time.
I'll see
Goodbye.
you later. Bye, Jenny.